to the second day, which is almost coming to an end. This is Sanganai Hlanganani 2021. It is the 14th edition of the Tourism Travel Expo. I see technology there, someone walking behind me. However, it does show that we are live. Anyway, we do have our webinar session for this afternoon. Before we do that, let me just give you our handles. You can join us on Twitter. Our handle is Meet in Zim. Our Facebook page is also Meet in Zim. You can also follow us on LinkedIn as well as on our YouTube channel, and it is Meet in Zim. My name is Hazel Zisani, in case we haven't met as yet. Welcome to those participants who are joining us from all over the world. It's always a pleasure to have you along. I will introduce to you the moderator for this session, and his name is Tawanda Munamba. I'll give you a brief background on Tawanda. He is the head of planning, investments and cooperation at the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, and this is since 2018. Tawanda completed his first degree in 2005 and worked in private and public entities in real estate, property development, as well as project management. In the year 2007, Tawanda joined Zimbabwe Tourism Authority as a senior researcher in planning and policy matters. He has vast experience, and this experience stretches over a decade in tourism planning, as well as development, project management and appraisal, corporate and business strategy formulation, valuation and investment promotion, and structuring. Tawanda is a holder of a master's degree in strategic management, postgraduate special honors degree in monitoring and evaluation, as well as a Bachelor of Science honors in rural and urban planning, and several other professional certificates. Tawanda is a diversified planner and corporate member of the Zimbabwe Institute of Rural and Urban Planning. Mr. Munamba, all those degrees, can I please have one? It's over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the introduction. I would want to welcome everyone to this session, which we are focusing on investing in the local authorities, that is tourism. The understanding being that investment happens in local authorities, and it's a key driver of tourism investment and development. So this session will focus on the investment in the local authorities, that is the tourism. I always normally joke with people to say when cities are being declared or are being upgraded, I'm sure they need to consider tourism. So this session we are going to hear more about the opportunities that exist in a number of local authorities. Specifically, we are going to be hearing from City of Harare, which is our capital, then from Lawayo, and of course, the newly born city of Victoria Falls. These, in fact, are our biggest tourism investment centers, so we are going to hear more from that. And to start our discussion, or to start the presentation, we are going to hear from the town clerk of City of Harare, Engineer Pakamile Mabena Moyo, to tell us more on how probably we invest in the city of Harare and what incentives are available. Engineer Moyo is a pragmatic and influential engineer with over 36 years of experience in local government sector. He had worked as a project manager, civil engineer, and acting director of water for City of Harare. He had a number of achievements. Notably, he had been participating in a number of housing projects, including Kwazana Phase 3, Warren Park, Borodale, and the like. He is currently the City of Harare acting town clerk, and his mandate includes strategic planning and management, service delivery, and promoting Harare as a tourist destination. Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave this time to the engineer for City of Harare, Mr. Moyo, Engineer Moyo. It's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. I'll just try and do a brief presentation of our role and our vision on tourism in the city of Harare. City of Harare, maybe as a background, is a capital. City was founded in 1890 and was declared a city in 1935. The city covers an area of 960 square kilometers and has a population of about 2.5 million people. Our vision is Harare to achieve world-class city status by 2025. We want to be ranked among the best cities, one of the best cities in the world by 2025. And our mission is to provide first-class service delivery and promote investment. So, moderator, our strategic drivers to tourism growth for City of Harare are that City of Harare is the gateway to the country, to Harare, to Zimbabwe, sorry, and it is the hub of all economic and commercial activities in the country. City of Harare is the seat of government and hosts embassies and other NGOs. So, and the city also has tourism facilities such as Mkwisi Woodlands, historical buildings, historical places, and hotels and conferencing facilities. The hotels and tourism facilities, we value them so much because they employ residents of Harare and bring downstream benefits to residents directly and indirectly, and enhances our residents' capacity to be able to participate and pay their rent. Tourism contributes toward complete growth and development of city by bringing economic value and benefits. Tourism also helps us to build the city's brand value, image, and identity. And tourism also goes beyond being an attractive destination, but also to being an economic growth contributor. So, what are the investment opportunities for tourism in Harare? In Harare, we have one conference center, one major conference center of international standard, which is the HCC. So there's a capacity to build opportunities to build further conferencing facilities that can accommodate up to 5,000 and above. We are also working with government on the Mkwisi Corridor project, which would like to turn the Mkwisi Corridor coming all the way from Hatfield down to Mbare as a development corridor, which will host water activities, arts and culture, amphitheater, and just mixed development, flats, offices, and so on. So I would like to turn that into an economic growth corridor. So that's an investment opportunity that potential investors in tourism can look at. We're also looking at development of the Mbare Art and Craft Center, which is currently a bit dilapidated and understaffed, into a modern facility that will also be feeding into the tourism sector. As you know, tourists one of the major their objectives is for shopping and to get unique items, which like the stone sculpture and so on, some of which have put Zimbabwe on the international art map. I've seen Zimbabwean art being exhibited in New York, Washington, all the international capitals of the world. So we would like also to push that industry for the benefit of our residents and for the benefit of the tourists. And we would like also to see Greenwood Park in the city center, which is a children's park and amusement center, into a modern amusement park, to the not maybe to the scale of Walt Disney or whatever, but it would be good for us to invest in it as an amusement park, which would also extend the number of days that tourists would like to stay in our city. So we would also like to develop entertainment parks in various suburbs of the city. We know we have one international music festival which draws tourists, which is Harare International Festival of Arts. We would like to see if we can spread that around the city and have different kinds of festivals for different areas. So there's also, for people who can identify areas where there's potential to go into township tourism. We've got historical buildings, we've got areas like Highfields, which are rich in history of our liberation. That's where most of the liberation parties were formed and most of the political activities. So places like that of historical significance that also can be looked at. So basically, these are some of the investment opportunities that are there. In terms of procedures and requirements, we're trying to have a one-stop shop, try to streamline the investment processes. We have standard operating procedures for unsolicited bids. So any potential investors are free to come to my office, and we'll link you with our business development unit. And the business development unit will escalate the proposals to ZIDA, and from there it's straight to the cabinet. So I think we have tried to streamline the processes, and some of the investments that we have been handling the past 2 or 3 months have sailed through within a month, all the way up to cabinet approval. So I think that's my presentation, Mr. Facilitator. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for that short and precise presentation. Probably I should also have enlightened the delegates that this session is a Moyo's affairs. We have got all the Moyos probably presenting. We'll probably take questions later on after all presenters have put their presentations. I would like to move on to our next presenter, who is Mr. Moyo, Mwauto Moyo from Victoria Falls City. He's the Economic Development Manager, as well as PR. I would not want to waste much of the time to talk more, but I want to give this time to Mr. Moyo from Victoria Falls City. It's all yours, Mr. Moyo. Thank you. Mr. Moyo, are you unmuted? Please. Maybe while he's fixing on his end, I'll probably move on to City of Bulawayo. And from City of Bulawayo, we are connected to Mr. Kolisani Moyo as well. Mr. Kolisani Moyo is the Bulawayo City's Economic Development Officer. Mr. Moyo from Bulawayo this time. Holds a number of qualifications, and at one point he was with the Ministry of Finance, and at one point he was a non-executive director with the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. He has a total of 15 years experience in civil service, of which 11 was spent in the Revenue Tax Policy Department of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. I would not want to waste much of the time, but I would want to give this time to Mr. Kolisani Moyo from Bulawayo City Council to take us through on tourism investment in Bulawayo. Mr. Moyo, say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I wanted to say Mr. Moyo because it seems we have already colonized the whole program, now a Moyo affair.
I say
we are excited to be part of this program, especially from Bulawayo, where we normally host Sanganani Expo. It is an expo where we interact and we value that expo as a city of Bulawayo, because it brings a lot of people from different areas to actually enjoy and see for themselves different opportunities that exist in the city. So I'm very happy to be part of this discussion and to share with you some of the things that we have in terms of tourism, how we want to promote tourism in the city. If you look at our city generally, the city of Bulawayo, I think in the country, the way Bulawayo is the only city with its original name. It didn't change the name like other cities. We used this name starting from around 1838 when King Ziligas came into the country, and then Lopengula when he actually gave the city Bulawayo, and then when Cecil John Rose came to the country, he actually used the same name Bulawayo. So this city in Bulawayo is called the City of Kings. It's called the City of Kings. Even in our vision, we are saying the City of Kings to be a leading smart transformative city by year 2024. So we are still maintaining that aspect of Kings. So the aspect of Kings in our vision is actually showing that it's a city with a rich history. If you go around the city of Bulawayo, you will find that you become a historian, and because of what we have. And we have tried to really package some of those things, the historic part of our history, and we have tried to package it, the heritage side, the cultural aspect, all those things, they make up Bulawayo. From our crest, you will then realize that our crest also speaks about the history of Bulawayo. So from a tourism point of view, we have tried to look at the architecture of the buildings, the culture, the history, the heritage, all those things we have tried to say if you visit Bulawayo, then you will be able to enjoy these aspects in tourism. Let me start by looking at the historic aspect, how we have managed to package it, and how the tourists who might be interested in coming to Bulawayo can enjoy those packages. We have developed a corridor for our tourists so that when they come, they can follow that corridor. And that corridor is starting from the Inwala site, right, where King Lobengula used to perform ceremonies of the first fruits. That corridor was launched by the president this year, right? It was launched by the president this year. So it's starting from Inwala site, and that site on its own is a historic site which we are still trying to develop. It's now an opportunity again for those who want to develop those sites like Ichaga in South Africa. So if they come to Bulawayo, we have got that site where we want to bring all different cultures in that site so that they can share their culture and people enjoy. So from Inwala, you go to the hanging tree. This is a hanging tree where during the war, most of some of the black people were hanged by the imperialists, and that tree is a historic tree. It's a long Joshua Nkomo road. And then we take you through all the buildings like the first stock exchange building. We'll take you there. Then we'll take you to Joshua Nkomo Statue, all these other areas for tourists to enjoy. We also have the National Museum, which is also unique in the sense that if you really, for those who want to understand the history of this country, how Cecil John Ross came into this country, if you visit that museum, you'll learn a lot. Apart from that museum, we can also take you to our museum, the National Museum that we have at the Centenary Park. That's where you now enjoy the nature in a room environment. And when we have done all those visiting the buildings, for those who are enthusiastic in seeing the buildings, the historic buildings, the history behind those buildings, we are also trying to bring another aspect of tourism, which is still new, the agriculture tourism. The agriculture tourism is still new, and we are developing that tourism because a lot of people, they want to understand how we, in terms of agriculture, how we do our agriculture. We will take you to the farms where you will see, starting from growing of crops, processing, all those things. We will take you through that process. That's agriculture tourism. We have also developed what we call sports tourism. Sports tourism, we want to promote horse racing. Just like Harare, where they have their horse racing course. In Bulawayo, we used to have a horse racing facility. So we want to develop sport tourism, the horse racing. That one is still there for those who are interested in horse riding. We want to develop that sport. We also want to develop hockey, so and squash and other sports facilities. So really, on those different sports facilities, we are looking at investment in the infrastructure. Like the horse one, we want the infrastructure around that race course. We also want the infrastructure around the hockey stadium. Then we also have sites which are designed or which are earmarked for hotels. For Bulawayo, we host the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Each year we have a number of visitors coming for that fair, some will be coming for the mining entry, some even for Sanganani Expo. So we have seen that in terms of accommodation, we fall short in terms of bed numbers that we require, even the conference facilities. So we really want investors who will come in to develop 5-star hotels, and also restaurants which will target different different groups of people. For example, we are looking at, maybe if you are looking at the Chinese on their side, where they will be serving the Chinese food, and then we also look at Indians. We want restaurants, different types of restaurants, catering for different groups of people. So we have already earmarked different sites for those hotels, so that at least when people come, they will be able to develop those hotels, especially a 5-star hotel. We really want a 5-star hotel. We are looking at different brands. Here already we have Holiday Inn and Rainbow and other small lodges that we have, but we are also looking at international brands to also come in and invest in Bulawayo. The aspect of township tourism is also a new thing that we are also developing as a city. We have our suburbs, which are very rich in terms of history, so we also want to develop township tourism, where we can take you through an old location like Makokova, where you can see the African farmers, Umkambo in Ndebele, Elsigeni, maybe in Shona. That area, you are able to see and taste our African medicine at Makokova, and also visit some of the historic sites around those areas. Again, if you then want to make a booking in those areas, we are also trying to develop those bed and breakfast accommodation, where you really feel how the Bulawayo people live, the general Bulawayo people live, and move away from the hotel life and be in the middle of a suburb. So that's another concept that we are also developing in Bulawayo. Around Bulawayo, we are also marketing other areas where they keep wild animals. Around our city, we are surrounded by these areas like game parks, where we have got Matoko game park, where you can see the rhino, you can even see the leopard and other animals. You can see Cecil John Ross grave that side. Then on the Victoria Falls alongside, you can go to areas like Sloane, where you can see different types of animals and you enjoy the nature. And in our farm, for those who are enthusiastic about birds, you can go to SLB Farm, where you can see a variety of birds in the farm. So generally, we have a lot. Maybe because of time, I'll give others to also share what they have in their jurisdiction. But for Bulawayo, we are saying the City of Kings. We have there are different packages that you can get from the City of Kings. The historians, we can give you what you want. For those who want to see nature, and again, those who want to drive at night, those who have been in Bulawayo, they will know that it's nice to drive around the city at night. We have got those wide roads where you can drive and enjoy the beauty of the city. Those are the things that we offer as a city. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moyo, for that exciting presentation. I'm happy to hear that you already have got sites which reserved for tourism development. I will definitely be in touch with you, for we have already investors who are looking for such opportunities, and who are looking forward to continue to work with you, and as we put together even the investment catalog. I would want to move on to the last Moyo from Victoria Falls City. Mr. Moyo, are you here? This time belongs to you. Please go ahead and give us what Victoria Falls, our newest city. Mr. Moyo from Victoria Falls. It would appear Mr. Mavuto Moyo from Victoria Falls is probably not being able to join us, or he has got some technical glitches. However, we will probably proceed, probably check if we have got any questions so far from our listeners and delegates.
At the moment, there are no questions.
There are no questions at the moment. I would probably just make a comment on all the presentations to say we are delighted to hear that, like what Blawayo said, that they already have got sites reserved for tourism development, and will continue to urge other local authorities to have such.
Tawanda, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Mr. Moyo is now available. He's now live.
Thank you, Hazel. I will defer this time to Mr. Moyo. Mr. Moyo, please go ahead.
Mr. Moyo, can you hear us? Technical team, please assist Mr. Moyo. There's his presentation, so I'm sure he'll be joining us shortly.
Sure, thank you.
Please unmute your mic, Mr. Moyo.
Mr. Moyo still probably experiencing some challenges. Technical team, are we up?
We're having challenges there from the city of Victoria Falls, the tourism capital of Zimbabwe.
Maybe we'll continue to make the attempt to connect to him, but
Hello?
maybe in the midst.
Hello, can you hear? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear Mr. Moyo now?
We can only hear a beautiful lady's voice.
It's at the technical side, the IT department.
How are you?
I'm an experiment. How are you?
We're great, thank you, and we cannot wait for your presentation.
Thank you. Okay, I'll allow Mr. Moyo to go on.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go on, Mr. Moyo.
Yes. My name is Ngabuto Moyo, as previously introduced. I would like to tell the world about Victoria Falls. It is the first city under the new dispensation, and I cannot avoid saying as well that we are the tourism capital, and we carry an international brand under our flagship, which is Victoria Falls. And it is a world destination, both for investment and tourism. Allow me to take you through the slides that I've prepared. Victoria Falls' vision and mission clearly states that we want to be a unique and competitive green city of the world-class standard, offering safe tourist and investment homage as a destination supported by a well-developed community. And our mission generally is to provide our community with efficient, effective, accessible, and affordable municipal service of high quality. And from our vision and mission, I wish to highlight to the members present that you will realize that most of the services and products that Victoria Falls produces, more than 75% of them are not consumed by locals, but by our international visitors, because our locals work in hotels, in markets, and in other various tourism services and products. They spend the day there, but our tourist visitors, they are the ones who actually use most of our activities or services as a local authority. And therefore, we strive to make sure that the standards that we produce or provide in terms of whatever product we are putting for public consumption is at a level that will make the tourists comfortable home and away. Generally, the role of governance in tourism, here we are looking at the administrative role that the town and the government puts in place to make sure that there is a smooth flow of services and products within our confines. And we also are looking at the inclusion of local government and representative of tourism businesses, civil societies, and bodies and interest groups in improving, offering tourism services. Our approach also includes informed decision-making and practices. Clients, stakeholder satisfaction, and peace and stability. That's what we believe are the key cornerstones that drive and droves of tourists into the destinations. And therefore, we work towards such credos that build trust in the destination and give guarantee of safety among values that bring people to Vic Falls and Zimbabwe in general. And we also like to highlight that our destination is anchored on safety. Safety brings tourists a sense of guarantee that when they go to a destination, they are able to move around and able to enjoy services unhindered without fear, and their positions are not at any risk. And as such, we always make sure that there is enough tourism police, our police, and other stakeholders to guarantee that safety. In terms of what values do we promote, what do we see in tourism and investment? We look at tourism as visitations generating additional demand of physical infrastructure such as roads, public water systems, signage, among other things. We also are there to make sure that there is adequate infrastructure that is critical in delivering world-class visitor experiences. We are also looking at making sure that the inhabitants of the country participate in tourism so that they are able to generate incomes for livelihoods and also share culture, traditions, among other things, with other stakeholders of the world. As we are part of the global ecosystem, there has to be that smooth flow of experiences, products, and services between us and those who visit us. Generally, we know that tourism brings about employment, it helps us generate revenues, it helps us generate foreign currency, and it also brings us closer to other communities and people that we meet. For instance, I can tell you that there are more than 57 celebrities that I know within my generation that have visited Victoria Falls. Talk about Michael Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, the Queen, Will Smith, and many others that you can imagine. Some of them, they come on public open platforms, some of them, they come privately. What are the investment opportunities in the city of Victoria Falls? Before I go into that, I will want to highlight that in Victoria Falls, we have got a strict policy that has helped us to remain unique and a green destination. And there are many efforts that we're also doing to make sure that we maintain that status to be one of the green destinations of the world. Chief or cardinal to that preserve, we have got principles surrounding environmental protection. We usually say there is no plant, equipment, or machinery that will be installed within our jurisdiction that will give rise to excess pollution. We are very sensitive to that. And we make sure that we take measures, that we monitor anything that produces pollutants. And we are also very sensitive to materials and technologies that people bring in when they want to build their hotels and lodges, among other facilities. We don't encourage anything which produces glare, and we are very sensitive to heights, because we don't want our destination to become a concrete jungle and that you can view from above. We restrict that. Victoria Falls is home to some of the most exciting packages in the country, or maybe in the world and in the region. I know I've got Big Brother Harare in Bulawayo, but what I know we offer is quite unique, and it can only be found in this part of the country. That is obviously the mighty Victoria Falls. We also have got the fauna and flora that we have. And what makes this destination unique and usually attractive, both visitor on tourism or product enjoyment and investor, is that you are able to share your route to home, to a restaurant, to a lodge or hotel with wild animals. We live with them, we're in harmony with them. Yes, we have got encounters here and there, but generally we live with these animals. That's what makes us very unique. Ladies and gentlemen, our thrust for the next 2, 3, 5 years up to 2025 is mainly based on making sure that we bounce back Zimbabwe and Victoria Falls as a destination to the world markets, world travel markets. We want to take the largest chunk of a market segment in tourism. Therefore, we are mainly driving investments and improvements in the following areas. That is basic infrastructure. We are also looking at transport. We are also looking at facilities that are going to bring about untold experiences, or experiences that they can be documented and shared with other people in other parts of the world. We are also looking at events. Engineer Moyo spoke about shows in Harare. Mr. Moyo also spoke about shows in Bulawayo. But we also talk about Vic Falls Carnival. We also talk about Falls Fest. When come next year and onwards, I promise the world that we are going to bring mega events that will transform the destination from a traditional destination to a fun destination. Fun destinations, they are not only based on physical products, but they are there to host mega events from beginning of the year right up to the end of the year. These are some of the projects that you are seeing in the table that is in front of you. We've got what is called WASH. For any destination to continuously...
Mr. Moyo, prepare to round off.
Yes. For any destination to bring to the world quality and to be marketable, you are looking at, you have to have proper water facilities and sanitation. We are also looking at bringing about another dimension of tourism, which is called medical tourism via tourism hospital. We are also looking at coming up with recreational parks so that people don't only go and sleep in their hotels. They are able also to enjoy other services. The table generally shows you the structure of the project that is in place, its description, and the estimated values. How do you then go about investing in VFOs? These are generally some of the expectations that we look for or look at whenever one wants to come in and invest in Victoria Falls. That is to generally come up with your application proposal and also attach the here listed documents and the contact persons that they're listed, and as incentives to anyone who wants to invest in VFOs. VFOs is one of the centers in Zimbabwe that has been designated with a special economic zone, and Victoria Falls in particular is unique because it has got two of them, which is tourism and finance. And anyone investing in our destination is likely to tap on those advantages and incentives being provided by SEZ. And also, we usually give you a 24 months levies and tax holidays. We also give you a development period of 24 months. Plan approval and development facilitation, we usually handle that. And we also assist our partners in Triple Ps and JVs to get some of their equipment and products in for free through rebates. We also offer support letters when someone applies for national status projects. We do that. We also go over and beyond that. When the project, during the project implementation and after it, we take some of the products and services to showcase in various marketing platforms. What is the city doing to promote sustainable tourism and development? We follow Green City initiatives as here listed. And we also working on diversifying our economy, moving it from being DNA'd on tourism, but also to include other forms that can be resistant and can make our economy agile, because we were hard hit during COVID. That affected even the local authority in terms of its budget performance and services to the residents. Ladies and gentlemen, in brief, that's what I can say about the new city called Victoria Falls. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moyo, and thank you all the Moyos that have taken to the stand to present. Mr. Moyo from Victoria Falls, you have already probably answered one of the questions that I saw, which relates to incentives. Maybe for a quick, probably let me check if we've got any other questions. Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions unless there are people who are here in Michael's Hotel who have some questions.
Any questions from the house?
No, there's nothing.
There is no question from the house. Maybe just one question to Bulawayo City and Harare. Just to check if you have got any incentives that are available that you provide to incoming investors. Maybe we start with the Moyo from Harare.
Yeah, thank you, sir. As I said, when we finalize our investment proposals, we went through ZIDA Zimbabwe Investment Center, and through their facilitation, we also assist to facilitate things like duty-free entry of capital goods, tax holidays. For the city, we are free to make proposals on what kind of arrangement you'll be seeking. So the city is very accommodative to all types of proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyo. Mr. Moyo from Lawayo.
Thank you very much. I think the issue of incentives, like the city of Harare, we also assist those companies that require, those want to apply for a national project status. We make those recommendations as a city. Again, we also educate those new companies who are coming in about the various incentives which are offered. If you look at Ministry of Finance document, they've got various incentives which are offered under tourism, and we are also recommending that our clients also apply for those incentives. We have also have sections where the city has been declared a special economic zone area, and those who also want to tap into that, there are various incentives under that special economic zone facility. So we also recommend that, and they get those incentives.
Thank you very much, all the presenters. If I was doing mathematics, I would probably just see factoring out the Moyo and the Harare, Lawayo, and Victoria Falls. Any other question?
Yes, I have two questions. One is from Nelson Zengeni. I think this is one of the lecturers at Cut University. I stand to be corrected. His question is, don't you think the economic carrying capacity of Victoria Falls has reached its maximum? Do you still need more tourism investment, or you need to maintain the product currently on offer? And then one more question from Charlene Hewitt. I think she was one of the panelists on one of the sessions earlier. Her question is, does Victoria Falls have the capacity to support the developments that are happening, i.e. sewage, water, etc.?
Thank you very much for the questions. Mr. Moyo from Victoria Falls, I think all the questions are directed to you, and they are quite related in terms of capacity. Please, you can go on to take on the questions.
Thank you, sir. The capacity of Victoria Falls in terms of contributing to the Zimbabwean economy generally hasn't been realized, and I can reiterate that it is far, far, far less than what we expect. In general, by 2030, we expect to have hit a 1 billion mark in terms of project investment. Currently, we are sitting at about 50 million US dollars in the past 2 years, and this year, before the end of the year, we hope to have concluded one of our mega deals, which amounts to about 280 million USD. The reason why I'm saying the capacity of Victoria Falls is not yet reached, or it hasn't reached its saturation or highest point of utilization in terms of resources that we have. We still have got quite a number of services that you don't find in Victoria Falls. That's why I was talking about transforming this destination from traditional to fun destination. Simply meaning, there are certain products that we don't have. Like, take for instance, for children. There isn't much that children can do when they come to this destination. There isn't much that you can do at night. The night economy of Zimbabwe, and Vic Falls in particular, is less than 5%. Go to other destinations in the world, you will realize that economies wake up at night and they triple revenues. And as such, as Victoria Falls, we have realized that we don't have the land. But now, if you looked at the table that I presented, we are talking about urban regeneration. We are talking about densifying, and we are also talking about reutilizing certain pieces of land that are owned by the local authority under various business models. Because our general feasibility and assessment of service gaps and force field analysis indicates that with what we have, we can still bring in other investments using the same pieces of land under densification and remodeling and redesigning certain facilities. That's number one. Number two, we also have got Masue abutting Vic Falls, which is part of the special economic zone. Whatever we're doing in terms of investment drive, we are also looking at the global picture of developing the whole corridor so that there is synergy and there is flow of services and activities from Vic Falls to Masue, because at some point we believe this is going to be one big ecosystem that is going to push and pull and avalanche both investors and visitors into the destination. For that particular maybe detail or further detail, I'll freely engage and share more information with the gentleman or with the lady who asked. I'm sure the platform is going to avail the details. When it comes to sewage or maybe services like water and sewage and sanitation, in my presentation I spoke about our project, which is called WASH, which is worth about 14 or 15 million that we are currently working on. This is a water master plan that is there to take care of Victoria Falls needs for the next 25 to 50 years. And it's one of the basic infrastructures that I spoke about, that for a destination to be successful and to be marketable and to make visitors comfortable and safe when they visit it, these things have to be in place, and we're already working on it. This is demonstrated by the recent handover of water rights by Zinoa. We are now purifying our own water and pumping it to different areas, and we are upgrading our facilities. And the handover is only 2 months old, and we are working tirelessly to make sure that come next year or in the next 2 years, the project will be complete. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moyo. I don't see any other question. I will confirm for the second and for the third, no question. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure being with you at this time of the day. Thank you once again, the Moyos from Bulawayo, from Victoria Falls, from Harare. We will continue to engage with you as you are our centers of investment, especially the tourism. In fact, you are the drivers of tourism investment and development. Without you, we will probably not talk of any tourism development and investment. I sign off. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much there, Mr. Tawanda Munamba from the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, and you were moderating the last session of the day. For those of you who have just joined us, I'd like to give you a brief background on what we spoke about today, or all the sessions that we had. Our first presentation of the day was on Kariba and the Zambezi region, and the moderator or presenter there was Sally Wynn. At 9:30, we had the future of mines tourism in Zimbabwe, and the moderator was Dr. Douglas Rinyoa. At 11:30 Central African Time today, we had the National Tourism Organizations Roundtable, and the moderator there was Mr. Douglas Mavembu. We also had 1400 hours post-COVID assurance on Zimbabwe as a safe tourism destination, and it was moderated by Tess Pross. Thank you very much, Tess, for that wonderful presentation. 1500 hours, we had the future of tourism is green. I'm sure most of us learned quite a bit, and this was by Tsitsi Munetsi and her panel. And lastly, as I just mentioned earlier, we had Explore and Invest in Tourism, and we were speaking mainly to the local authorities here in Zimbabwe. Now, tomorrow will be a very exciting day. We will have lots of presentations, so we are encouraging all the delegates and all our audiences who are joining us on our Facebook page, which is Meet in Zim. Our Twitter handle is also Meet in Zim, as well as our YouTube channel, Meet in Zim. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Post something, share, like, and also comment on what you think about meeting in Zim. Now, tomorrow we will have lots of prizes, and these are courtesy of our sponsors. I'd like to run them down, and they are in no particular order. Cresta Hospitality Group, Rainbow Tourism Group, African Sun Hotels, Africa Albedo Tourism, Cut Hotels, Montclair Hotel and Casino, Meikles Hotel, Regency Hotel Group, and Dande Mutande. Thank you very much for that. Now, tomorrow, our sessions will be purely virtual, so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that managed to come here at the Meikles Hotel. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Our sessions for tomorrow, at 9 o'clock, we will have a destination presentation on the City of Kings and Queens, Bulawayo, and the presentation will be done by Mr. Chauke. At 10 o'clock Central African time, this one will be very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people will log onto this session, Aviation and Tourism Development. The moderator there will be John Howell. At 11:30 Central African time, Startups, how to build a professional conference organizing company, and the moderator there will be Mrs. Tessa Chikaponya. At 13:45, we will have another destination presentation, this time focusing on Victoria Falls, our tourism capital of Zimbabwe, and also the 7th wonder of the world. At 14:30, we will have a presentation on Beitbridge, the home of Vavenda. 15:15, our last webinar for the day, will be focusing on tourism opportunities for the youth. What can we do without the youth? They are the future of tomorrow. And the moderator there will be PT Chimsoro. 1600 hours, the curtain will come down on Sanganai Hlanganani 2021, Africa's premier business exchange. It's been absolutely awesome to be here with you today. My name is Hazel Zisani. I know we woke up some of you in America at an ungodly hour. Those of you who are joining us from Europe, we were more or less sharing the same time. And those in China and New Zealand and Australia, I know it's way past your bedtime. Have a very good day. Goodbye.